Hi everyone, and welcome to the second of these sessions on digital storytelling with Adobe. And today I just thought what we might do before we kick into today's session is just a recap of where we went last time and where we might be going today. So the sessions last time, we had a look at what were some examples, what is digital storytelling, what are some examples of stuff, and then we started a couple of examples, and then we started looking at the 8 steps to creating, or 9 as I say them, to creating a digital story. And the first of those is that we're going to start with an idea. Then we're going to, and that may be in the form of a driving question for students or a thematic unit that you're working through at the moment. Then you might move on to a little bit of research and exploration. You might pick some sort of a tool for students to be using at that point. No need to worry too much whether it's what sort of tool it is. Then you might start writing script. Now today we're going to be looking at Adobe Story for script writing and for storyboarding. It's a great addition and one that I can recommend that you use with students. Step number 4 again is the storyboarding and the planning. With Adobe Story you can use that for the planning as well. Gathering your, yes, we are going to do some script. Oh, that's Carla. We're going to, we've already looked about how we can gather some images. Due to the technical issues last week, we skipped Lightroom, so we're going to do Lightroom today as well. And how we can work with audio today too. And then next week we're going to pull it all together using Premiere Elements and Adobe Voice or Adobe Voice. And then we have a bit of a chat about how we might share it as well. Before we had some reflection and feedback, always important. I'd probably pop a feedback loop somewhere after the story, the pulling it all together. Pop a feedback loop in there so people can give, students can give each other some feedback before they do a final edit on their topic and then hand it in on their digital story. So that's sort of the flow, if you like, that we've been looking at. So we might get straight into it, and I'm really nervous about this. My interwebs are being a little bit dodgy, so I'm going to try and share my screen, and I'm going to hold my breath, and hopefully we should be all good. Whoops, we don't need to see inside the Connect room. Yes, everybody's seeing that, so that's very good. What I'm going to do straight away is head into Lightroom. So hopefully you'll be able to see the software this time. Yes, bingo, woohoo! Anyone who wasn't here last week, at this point last week, everything stopped sharing. So it was really quite scary. So let's back to here. And Lightroom is basically a really, really basic, quick, dirty way to use Photoshop. It's part of your Creative Cloud subscription. So if you do have Creative Cloud, you can find it under your apps area. And currently Lightroom 5 is the number that we're using, and that's what I'm using today. So basically what we're doing when we're looking at there we go, thank you very much. Excellent. When we look at Lightroom, what we have to do first of all is get the photographs into Lightroom. It's a library, and you can edit from there. So if I'm just going to navigate to that folder we were using last week, this session here, that's all. Just you can see we've got all the thumbnails. At this point I can tick or untick the photos that I want to work with. So I'm going to choose to import all of them. We're just going to skip that at the moment, and I'm going to hit import, which is underneath my button there. There we go. Click import. So now those images are actually living inside Lightroom and will stay there until I say otherwise. So if I wanted to start tinkering with some images, so you know how we played with exposure and we played with some of the adjustments, well, let's do that in here so that we know where we're up to. Might try a different one this time. Let's see if this one works for us. So I'm going to double click on an image and it's going to open up for me. And now for this, once I've got them in here, that's the library section across the top, I'm then going to click on develop. And you might note on the left hand side here it's actually remembered my name, pip cleaves is there because Lightroom will sync across an iPad. There's an iPad app for Lightroom, which is a free app, and you can edit images on the go, and then when you open, it will sync across. Mine is actually syncing to my MacBook Pro rather than this Surface, so my other images aren't in here, but you can easily sync. It's actually a really nice workflow. Okay, so once I'm in here, what do I want to do? Well, I want to work along these buttons here. So this is the crop button. On the left, you see there's 1, 2, so we've got the crop, we've got the spot removal, we've got eye correction, graduated filter, radial filter, and the adjustment brush. So we're going to head into the crop, and then at that point with crop, all I have to do, there we go, is I can just click and drag my cropping to be the size that I wish it to be. So let's just, it's actually probably a very good size away, to be honest. But I take it to where I want it to be, and you'll see on the left-hand side, I get a thumbnail of what it's actually going to look like once I've cropped. So that'll do me. So I hit enter, and that is then rendered into the image, and that's what it's like. Lightroom uses Control-Z really nicely. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. Thank you very much. And it will take it back to that original image for me. Thank you. There we are. So along the top here, underneath the navigator on the left side, you'll see that I can choose the size of my image. I can make it fit. I can go fill. I can go 1:1. I can go 3:1. Or I can go absolutely crazy. I use the fill all the time, to be honest. And if I want to zoom on something, no, I use a fit, doll. And then if I want to zoom on something, I click and I use the hand to move around. And you'll see it's giving me in this thumbnail a little bit of an image of how I'm moving around. So now if I head back to the fit, or the fit even, that's made that suit in there. So that's how we can crop. Look, once again, we press the crop. Now let's start playing with some of the exposure. Thank you. The exposure and some of the different treatments we can do. So here's my little exposure button. So just say, oh, the man's face goes really white when I do that. Hey, that's not the best thing. But say you've got a really dark image. So say I want to play with, where's that dark one? Let's go with this one, hey. That'll do. No, that's not particularly dark. We'll scroll along till I find my one. Oh, I must have saved over the top of it. Oh, no, oh, well. We might even go that one. So that exposure's all right. I don't need to play with that too much. I might like to play with the contrast a little bit to get the colours happening a bit more, maybe up there. And remember how we did in Photoshop, we did up under image, then we chose adjustments, and then we chose curves. Well, here we have a tone curve all ready to go for us. With this one, you know how I said with Photoshop you do 3 dots to get the tones happening? This one's more of a click and a drag to make it happen, and I'll just pin that one in the middle. So then I can play with my image colors. I can also drag down the bottom. You'll see as I drag, that's changing the curve. So that's another way to play with it a little bit if you want. Oh, that's a bit dark. All right, you couldn't get on. Oh, that's okay, Julie. No, welcome to my world today. And you can see that that's all hooning along. Oh, that's all moving along nicely in that way. Once I'm ready to save an image, although the colors are very dodgy. Oh well. Once I'm ready to save, we file, we export, and then we have a few choices here. What we might do, let's go specific folder. Actually, now let's choose a folder. Onto my desktop, let's make a new one. Let's call it webinar play. There we go, select the file, there we go. And now, that's the one I want to save it. So everything I save for the next little while in Room is going to save into this folder. I don't want to put it into a subfolder, I just want it to go in there. Now what sort of a file do I want it to save as? I think that's good to go. Yep, let's hit export, and that's going to work for us. I'm hoping I'm still on board because the other one my other device just. Okay, good. So that's how we can crop. We can play with our colors. We can play with shadows and highlights. just until, as I said yesterday or last week, until it looks a little bit pretty, until you're happy with it. That's probably the best way to play. The next thing we might play with, let's open our little girl. Where is she with the dirty face? Where'd that cutie gone? Oh, there she is. There we go. Alright, so we want to clean up her face a little bit. Let's click on our little brush here, and we might bring the brush size down, because that's, oh no, that's alright. Let's bring that. Now you've got two choices here. You've got clone and you've got heal. Remember last time when we had the button that we could just click it and it clears it up? Okay, what we do with this one is you click and you drag. You click and you drag. You click and you drag. And then over here, click, drag, drag. It draws like all weird stuff, don't worry. It'll get over it. Click and drag. Oops, that was bad. Control Z. There we go. And has that cleared up her face a little bit? Yeah, I think that's good. Enter. So now if I click over onto it, that's a little bit better, a little bit clearer. I don't like that bit over there, hey? So let's go back. Why don't I click clone over here? And I'll clone this bit, and I want it to clone here. And that's going to move that for me. Just move it under there. There we go. Done. Much happier with that. And now we hit on the heel. So just say I wanted to, oh, that's really, let's not look at that one. Let's say I wanted to remove some people from an image. Remember this image? Yeah. Just say, I want to remove these people in the background. We can give that a go by, again, clicking on our circle, the spot removal tool. Let's click on heal, and it's going to pick up the background for you. If I go like this, oh yeah, although the hair got a little bit in the way, so if I click and drag, that's a little bit better. A little bit better. I think I'm going to move that into there. So I want to, yeah, that's a little bit of a better, where it's copying, isn't it? And let's move this one here. Thank you. Yep, that'll do me. Thank you. That'll do. And we go moving. What's happening is that this other, there we go. Thank you. That's better. And we can click and remove bits of the image. Not working so well today, is it, guys? Let's try the clone tool and see if we can get this to happen for us. There we go. That is working better. I might make my brush a bit bigger. There, about there. That's a little bit big. And we can work with that there. Given the right image, that works well. I'm in a bit of a rush, so that's a bit silly. Let's fix up some red eyes, shall we? So for red eyes, we click on the little red eye remover, and I click on the person, and that's just going to work on that for me. And that's fixed those red eyes for us. So that's pretty easy to do. And then the adjustment brush is quite interesting. If there's a specific area that's a little bit, thank you, a little bit you want to change just a specific area, you click on this adjustment brush. Where's somewhere that's a little bit dark? Whoops. Brush, thank you. You fix up all your, whether you want to temperature, then you adjust things, then you click, and you'll see how just that area was made a little, that's bad for that girl, sorry. You can just make things a little bit brighter in that spot, which is quite nice for playing around with images and making them a little bit so just, if I just want to make her face all nice and bright, I can do that with that. So there's certain images where you might like to just brighten a specific spot, and Lightroom will help you do that with the adjustment brush. So once again, once we're done with an image, it's just a matter of file, export, and as long as you've got your folder correct, we hit export. So now when I head back to my folder, here's my webinar play. There's those two images for me that I did some tinkering around on. So if you do have access to Lightroom, that may be another option you might like to play with. I think it's quite a nice tool, very handy. I'm using it more and more with my I've just taken up photography, and that helps me to use that a little bit more. Alright, so the next tool we're going to use is, I might just pop back into the, no, I'm not going to pop into the room because I can read questions. Are there any questions at this point about Lightroom? Has anyone used Lightroom and has any specific activities they might like to share with anyone? Okay, so the next tool I am going to head into is the Adobe Story. Do I suggest Lightroom over Bridge? That's a really good point. A Bridge is probably best for saving everything. You can pop your images in Bridge and then use them in Lightroom, so still like you're using Bridge for your storage. Bridge will encapsulate all the Adobe tools. Lightroom will just hook up with Lightroom, if that makes sense. So yeah, you can, yep, and the Camera Raw inside Bridge is a great way to edit your photos as well. Alright, so let's move on. Don't forget everyone, the URL for this document is in the Adobe Education Exchange, but it's also Digi Story 14, and this is where we're putting all the links for everything. But that was just open. Then I came in here was to look at Adobe Story. Adobe Story. Here we go, story.adobe. So Adobe Story, if you have a look on my computer at the moment, you can see I'm logging into it from the internet, but I also have it as a full. We've got a bit of a time lag, everyone, maybe. I'm also opening it as the full software. So you can use either. I think for what we would use it for in education, the browser version is just as good. So I'm going to sign into that as well. And what do we use Adobe Story for? Well, apparently all the big movie maker people use Adobe Story for writing their scripts, for doing their project plans, for creating movies, for editing, for directing. It's a whole workflow for those who work in movie creation. And the component of it that we're using is just the script writing and storyboard, if you like. So when you first open Adobe Story, it's like any other Adobe tool really. It looks very similar to me. Lots of stuff we know and love. And you'll see that there's a sample project here. It's worth having a look through the sample projects. So if I click into Paladin script, which is a film script, there's all different types of scripts and things that you can use. So I'm going to open that one, and you'll see that just when it opens, you know what, I think it's really cool because it looks like an old school script writing. And you'll see here that's the whole script for that movie, and we can navigate through it if you like, all the different sections of it. We can add things to it, we can review things, we can start tracking changes, then we can start reviewing. There's a whole lot of things you can do. If I just head to my home, whoops, not the home, head back to projects, and if we have a look at the TV pilot, okay, this is just opening up to have a look at what the TV pilot looks like. Here we go. You can see that this one got all the instructions and all the shots for the movie included in it. So you can choose to add in the different, if you're doing movie making full on and you want students to start, I'm scrolling too quickly, you want the students to start seeing the different shots that are going to be taking as something happens. And like the whole kit and caboodle, then you can do this as well. And the colors here are the different, on the left hand side, you'll see that underneath the different sections of this TV script, there's little dots of colors, and that's who the characters are. So in this one, we have Cassie, Jeannie, and Paul are in this script. And then Lola, Noah, and Cassie are in this script. So it sort of helps you to understand. You can rotate through your open scripts via your regular sort of tabs across the top Just going to head back to my projects. And you can hear that I made a mistake the first time, and I created my script inside the already there. But what we want to do is actually create a new project, don't we? So when we first, let me just take you back to the home page so you don't get too scared when you log in for the first time. This is the home page. This will play here for you to give you a little bit of an idea. If you want to install the desktop application, you can do that from this this little button here. You won't find it inside the Create Cloud as such. If we head through these apps here, Story is not there. The only way you're going to install Story is through story.adobe.com. Alright, so now that I'm ready to create something, I click on Projects, and I want to create a new project. So I click on the drop down and I choose New Project. Let me give it Story Webinar. This is a new project. What I'd probably do in the school if I was using this would be, because we can share this out to students, I would create the base document for each of the groups of the students who are creating that, and then I would ask them to, did I not do that correctly? Okay, let's hit create. Oh, thank you very much. I'd create a project for each of the different units or projects I'm doing for digital storytelling, then create the script for each of the students, and then share that script out to them so that they can work collaboratively. It's sort of like a Google Doc or a Office 365 document to write that script together. So next, once I'm in these scripts, I want to create a new, so I click on New Script. So the first thing you have to do is create a project, and then you choose your script. So by default, it's film script, but you can actually use a number of topics as you like. I think for what we do for digital storytelling, the multi-column script is your best option. And I'm going to title this with the name of the group that are going to do it. So I'm going to title this Joe, Ricky, and Nina. And I'm going to hit create. So this is going to do a little bit in the background for me. And here's my script ready to go. So who's it written by? Well, we can come on here and we can change it. It's written by Joe, we better not. Joe, Ricky, and Nina. And just fix that spelling. It's even got a spell checker there. And this story is going to, this digital story is based on Tongue Butter. There we go. And if I scroll down, I can add address or phone number in there if I want, but I don't need to. Now, as I go down, I've now got my storyboard area that I can start editing. So what I believe is the best practice here is that students create a story into this audio area, then add the images that they might use for their digital story into the visual area, and then whatever's necessary in the shot area. So let's go with that, hey? So first of all, our story is going to start with, for me, with this script here that I've written in another document, and I'm going to paste that in there, and I'm going to choose my image that is to accompany that script in the digital story. So I'm going to choose add. I'm going to choose add an image, and this is going to start with, for me, I think I'm going to start with this one. And that's going to load that image into there for me and start setting the scene. I just realised that's uploading. And of course, I need my children to pedal their bike quicker so the internet works better for me. Yeah, I know, Rebecca, isn't it a wonderful tool? I think it's really cool. I'll show you how to share it soon. And then you can have students working together to edit and work together. And it's a little bit like, I don't know about you, but when we use actual industry tools, I think that's more, sort of makes students feel more sort of excited about what they're doing. I'm just still waiting for the image to upload. So just bear with me. And what I might actually do, just realised, is that I forgot to put a heading in. So on the left hand side, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little tiny plus. So I can add in there now. I'm going to add in a visual for, and I mean your students might like to go and pop in all the images first, but I just think popping the text in first is a better idea. And we can do that. There we go. And this is going to be Tana, but our version. There we go, our version. And then we can keep creating our subtitle, our story as we go. Now, another cool thing here is, see, I've just hovered right on the left-hand side of the page. Near is the click to add a new comment here. So I can add there. I had highlighted the last word, and I'm not sure if this title needs a little bit of work yet. And we hit OK, and that's good to go. That's going to stay there. Again, if I want to add a comment, I just click on a word and you'll see that the comments will pop up for me. So that would be really cool in order to keep that going. There is a spell check here. Again, you may not be able to see it, but there's little tiny red squiggle lines. Anyone who's used Forms Central will know what the red squiggly line is, and you can actually add things to your dictionary or change them as you go along. So what basically the students are doing then is creating their storyboard in here. If you've done some manual storyboarding, well, there's nothing to stop you taking an image of some of those hand drawings that they've done and adding them in here. So again, I'm going to click add, and then I'm going to choose, what's this little bit about here? It's about that it's a traditional one, so I'm going to choose that image. That's just going to, there we go. And we keep going in an item every time, a little cell or a row, and add a little plus down the bottom. So I think this is quite a user-friendly, and I'd like to hear your advice. Can you add columns? You probably can. This is a multi-column, so let's see if we click on edit. Oh, I know where the columns would be. They'd be up the top, wouldn't they? There we go. Yes, you can. Bingo. So you can add an extra column in there as well. So if you did to this want to add, you could potentially do this. Let's click on there, edit the header, and let's call this person, let's see, who's in charge of that one. And, oh, okay, of course we can't go. Let's just do person. Hit OK. And there you go, you can actually put that, okay, so Joe's doing this bit. So you can do some of that good self-regulation work of students planning the work themselves and working through. Joe, hang on, to create image. There we go. Or you can do a tick box if you've got that image ready to go. You can do whatever you like and work your way through. You might even put the music if you're going to put some music on that side as well. So I think that's cool. Again, where did we find this? Oh, I actually really like this bit at the top where it makes it look old school. Once we're done, we can edit it. So we click on the file. First of all, you probably should save it. Now the editors are the export, because what it does, it exports all the images with it as a file. And I'm going to export this as an Adobe PDF. And don't forget, we can export all the comments, yes. Don't forget the joys of PDF being able to do comment and markup and all that sort of stuff on them as well. So that's just exporting. Let's hit OK. Pop it on my desktop. Let's open it. Thank you. Let's go and have a look what it looks, see where we're up to. There we go. So for students, if they're actually handing in a portfolio as part of their digital storytelling, then here's the good to go. They can print this out. They're getting all their work done. If I click on the images, obviously that's a page at the end. with all those the comments ready to go. Very stuff, I say. Nice job, Adobe's. So that is Adobe Story. Once we're done, oh yeah, you might want to share, hey? So why don't I go back in and edit this one? Thank you. Where's all my thingies gone? Interesting. I've lost the bits I want now. I want to share. So if I just head back to my projects, thank you. And I've clicked on this one here, and I want to share this document here. I can click share, and it will say who are you going to send it to. So just for fun, I'm going to send it to myself. You can choose them to be a co-author, a reviewer. So this is great if you're doing some feedback, you're doing some sort of, that editing and helping each other out. Just make them a reviewer so that they can comment and stuff. And then, or you can make them a reader or a writer. So let's add myself as a co-writer. I'm going to send an email notification. I'm going to hit OK. So that's actually going to send that email out to myself so I can open it. So for some reason, I ended up in the browser when I really wanted to start in the... But all of that we've done today has been in the browser. So you can see you don't need the full tool for the whole thing. Now, as I come back here, if I wanted to add some characters into so if I was doing a play and I wanted to add some characters, I would add new into this project. What is it? It's a character bio, and this one is Joe. Let's hit create. And I can write a little bit of a blurb about Joe is a very temperamental 18-year-old. And I write my bio about that person. So once that is saved, and I head back to my projects, you can see I've got a bio on, and I can add him too. So it's as like any other project. It's as deep as it is. This software is, it's industry use, quite deep, but don't stress about that. You use it for what you need to use it for. So that is Adobe Story. Now just know the full install is called Adobe Story Plus, and the web browser is found at story.adobe.com. There's not a huge amount of help and support for it, but you can click on the help button, click on Adobe Story, and that's going to do some help and support guides if necessary. So you'll see here there's quite a bit in there. But it's so cool when you see one of the explanations. They talk about what they do in industry with it, and it's just like quite amazing stuff. So who thinks would that be quite useful, do you think, for you guys to use in schools? Just let me know, and we'll move on to, let's call it the nightmare next, shall we? All right, I'm going to close that down. That's Adobe Story. So we've covered Lightroom, we've covered Adobe Story, and next, oh, have you? Oh, that's excellent then, Kerry. You can do that. Yeah, go for it. Even, I think, if you've got an Adobe account but not Creative Cloud, you can still use Story Browser. But if you want to download the full version, you need Creative Cloud. So there we go. All right, the next thing we're going to do is move into Audition. Now, I had this awesome plan. I've created a demo already that I was going to upload for audio purposes, but yeah, the interwebs are not liking me today, shall we say. So we are going to try this old. Hi, for this part of the session, I'm going to do a pre-recording just because I need the audio to work, and sometimes it doesn't work through a connect room. So this is just a pre-recorded section. And what we're going to do is open Audition, which is part of the Creative Cloud. So you can find it if you haven't installed it yet. Install your Creative Cloud. If you pop into the apps, you'll see it as this sort of color here, so that's where you want to head with it. So I really wish I could get rid of that, hey? Anyway, so what we're going to do is start working with a couple of the audio recordings for my digital story. Now, once again, I'm not a huge Audition pro, but I use it for what I use it for. So here we go. Now, first of all, I have a video that I downloaded from somewhere, and it's not necessarily what do we call it? It's not an audio file, it's a video file. So what I'm actually going to do here, I just need to double check the name, which one it's called. It's called Tanabata Summer, okay? So I need to find that. So I'm going to go into my media browser, and I'm going to go through my computer and find that I'm in the user, it's pip, it's on my desktop, it's in my digital storytelling, it's inside Tanabata, and it was called, was it called that one? Yeah, let's give that one a go, hey? And I click and drag, and it's going to drop that in there. So that's actually popped in here, the audio from that video. It's separated it for me. And if we just want to have a bit of a listen to it, we look down the bottom here, and we'll see the play button. So this audio is okay, but you'll see that the meaning of this, and by the way, I have turned on up the top. When we first pop it in, we get the normal waveform, but I want to see the full audio spectral frequency display. So with this spectral frequency display, purple is sort of very quiet background, annoying white noise kind of stuff, and the yellow is the loud human, or the loud talking, or the music, or whatever. And as you can hear, this isn't the clearest. So we want to stop it, and we want to play with it. Just so you know, here I have my cursor that I can move around. If I press the plus key on my computer, it will spread out, it will zoom in so I can see more. And at the same time, you'll see up the top is this, it's sort of like a blue box, and I can move that along the track to get along quicker than previously. So there we go. If we just do that, we're moving along, but you'll see the whole way through it pretty much. There's some quite blue areas. I'm just going to move or double click down at this back at the beginning, and you'll see that we've got a bit of dead space here, and we also then have some it's a bit of audio here that we don't need. So what I'm going to do, oops, sorry about that. Okay, so what we're going to do here is get rid of this section of text, and I just need this section of audio, and I just want to use the waveform for that. So I'm going to turn off the spectral frequency display, the colorful one, and I'm now just going to click and drag my mouse over that whole section of audio. I'm going to right click, and I can cut it if I want to cut it out and paste it elsewhere, or I can delete it. I've deleted that section. So now when I press play, it's just going to start. And that goes on for quite some time, just going back to my colourful editor. But what I want to do now is actually clear this up so it doesn't sound so grainy. And the way I do that is I actually I'm just going to take my sound back to the beginning, click on my slider. I'm going to choose effects, I'm going to choose noise reduction, and I'm going to choose adaptive noise reduction. And what this is going to do is read my music and just put out a general smoother or general removing of background noise. If you've recorded it and you're on the bit of a side of a road, or there's just some school noise behind you and you want to delete that, then this is how you do it without having to worry too much. So first of all, I turn the high quality mode on. It's a bit slower, but I don't care. And I press play. Now, you won't notice a difference straight away. It takes a couple of seconds before that difference comes through. Now I'm going to press apply, and that's actually just going to take some time through that recording, and it's going to take all that background noise out, and you'll see when we come back there's not as much purple in that area, so we'll be able to see that the audio is much better now, better quality. So let's have a look at it. Once again, I just let's click out of that. So see how most of that purple's gone now? Let's listen to it and see if we can pick up a difference. It's much clearer and crisper. Okay, so that's how I wanted to show you how to move some general noise from the back. Once again, what did I do? Let's do a new one and I'll show you. What I do is, oh, this is the cool. Sometimes you can't find the thing you're looking for. So let's pull up ourselves and say that this one here is the one I want to work with next. I'm just going to literally pick it up, drag it and drop it. So now I have some new audio. Is this the one I wanted? Let's see. No, it's not. Isn't even the one I was looking for. So let's pull in the one I am looking for, which is, oh yes, 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 yes. This is a movie. Again, I'm just going to click and drag and drop, and it's just going to do its thing, and it's seeping out the music from that. Wowzers. And that's a very, very noisy sort of thing. So let's have a listen to it and see what we've got. This is the sound of the local festival. Excellent. Again, that's a noisy one. I could tinker with that a little bit if I like, or I could pull in this one here. This is the one I was actually looking for, by the way. So this is just recording across now. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Let's turn that colourful thing off and have a quick listen for a second. Now I've decided that I want these sounds of these cicadas in here to be moved to the back of the audio, because I want my digital story to finish with that music. So I'm going to click here. I just want to zoom it out a little bit. Sorry, just want to zoom that out a bit. Now I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose cut. There we go. I'm going to go to the end of my movie, the end of my audio, and I'm literally going to paste into there. So now you can see that that audio that I was using is now now been moved to the other end. That's kind of a handy way to use that music, if you like. Now let's have a look at the colourful spectrometer, and I'm just going to zoom this a little bit by pressing on my key, or I can also just pull this out either way, and that's going to spread it all out a little bit for me too. Let's pull that out a bit that way. And oh no, it's not, sorry, the smaller you get the wider it gets, hey? Yeah, that's right, I remember that stuff. So now what I want to do is actually show you how we can change, get rid of little tiny bits within our music. So specific sounds that we don't like in an audio track, we can remove them. So in here, first of all, I want to bring my music up to the beginning. I'm going to click on that, sorry. Control D to deselect. Let's hit play. So just say back here, there's that tiny bit. Maybe this isn't a great example how to do this. Let's have a look what happens when we play here. No, what I'm actually going to do is pull up another track. Sorry about this, guys. Why don't I then pull out my trial story? Okay. So here's something I recorded earlier today that will become my ton of butter story. And I just popped this on recording, and I had a bit of noise in the background. And we might have a little bit of a see if we can delete some of that music now. So let's have a listen. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is head up into effects. I'm going to head into noise reduction, and I'm going to do adaptive noise reduction. I'm going to play it. And I'm going to apply, and that's just taken all that unnecessary background music out of, or noise and stuff out, and then we can start tinkering with the little things that healing some of the spots that need to be healed. So that's just going to move forward for us. Give it a second. There's quite a bit of background noise in this. So you could be doing this if your students have been out using their video cameras or their phones to record audio. I actually just recorded this audio with we'll just get that a second. I'll show you what I used to record this. Really simple. I'm on a Windows device, as you can see. I just used, if I head back here, start typing sound recorder. Oops. I just used the sound recorder, this one here with the microphone. You can also within this as well, you can hit the record button. So within Audition, hit record, and you can start recording that session. So when anything, by the way, goes white like this, so our workspace area has gone all white, hit Control D to deselect. So that's actually removed a lot of the purple background noise, but now I want to remove some of the specific noises that are happening on this. So let's have a listen. What have we got here where these strips are? Let's see if we can remove them. So I'm not sure if you heard that. I'm just going to turn the volume up a little bit. Let's see, but where there is this strip here, if I just do that, you'll probably see the strip better. Where there's this strip here, that's an actual noise. Hit play. And I want to remove that strip. So there's a couple of things we can do. First of all, if I head up here to the paintbrush selection tool, and I highlight the area that I want to remove, there we go. And then, oh no, sorry. Yeah. No, we hit escape. Sorry. Hit the lasso tool. Come up here, draw a circle around the area that I want to delete, and I can hit delete, And at that point the sound goes, I hit deselect, Control D. So now if I hit play, there's no sound there whatsoever. If I just go back to a Control Z, there we go, Control D. That strip is back there now. So that was the first way I did. What did I do then? I chose my lasso tool up the top and I draw a circle around the area that I wanted to delete, this whole noise here, and then I just hit delete. And that, Control D to deselect, you'll see there's a big black hole there now. You probably don't want to do this for a big chunk of time, but it would probably work for smaller things like this. So let's have a listen now to see if the noise is there. So you would have heard that that's very silent now. All right, let's see another way that we can play with sounds. Let's deselect that. This time I'm going to use the heal tool. The healing tool. So like in Photoshop, when we fixed up the little girl's face last week, or when we want to do some little point healing, we can do that with Audition as well. So I've chosen the paintbrush up here. I can change my paintbrush size, which I might do for this by pulling the slider across just where it says slide. Yeah, excellent. So now if I click and drag over the area that I want to change, I head up here to favorites and I choose auto heal. That's going to take what's happening around this sound and remove but add it in so it sort of blends in better. When I just did it last, it removed it, but it didn't, but it just left a black hole there. This is going to remove it and heal a little bit better. Let's hit Control D. Now let's have a little bit of a listen to what's happening. So that works nicely. Once again, what did I do? If I just Control Z out of that, Control Z, Control D to get rid of that. Way. Okay, we can do with that. No, we can't deal with that. I'm going to hit Control Z again. Oh, that's okay. We'll deal with it over here. So what did I do? I made sure I was on the paintbrush. I chose my size and I picked the spot that I wanted to delete, and I chose favorites and I chose auto heal, and then that's going to go through and take out those noises for me. It's just doing that, and once it's done, you can just, once it's done, there we go, yeah, it's nearly done, bingo. And it's going to Control D to get out of that selection. If I start playing, you'll notice that the sound's gone now. There we go. So that's how we can do it. There is often when we're looking at audio, it's the across lines that are the sounds, big sounds. So what's the sound in here? There we go. So there was a bit of a noise in the background of someone unpacking the dishwasher. And you can see that I've got some strips here that are going horizontally. So if I want to remove in my audio all the sounds that sound like a dishwasher, because they're all at the same frequency, we do it like this. I choose the brush, I hold my finger down on the shift key, and I just highlight all those bits that I want to remove. I choose effects, choose noise reduction, and I choose learn sound model. We hit OK. So now when I head back to deselect that, Control D to deselect, if I hit effects, I hit noise reduction, and I hit sound remover process, that will look through my computer, that whole track, find all those audios that sound exactly the same as that dishwasher and remove that for me. So that's not going to take a second. So if you know there's been lots of you know, the bell's rung a couple of times during an audio pitch, or there's been a car horn beeping, or there's some continual sound that's the same through it, then that'll go through and delete that for you. Let's hit apply. Oh, did I hit apply before? I may have hit apply before. We'll just wait a second. And that's going to delete it. So I guess what we've done here with Audition so far is we've deleted sections of music, sections of audio. We've cut and paste sections of audio into different sections. We've put a bit of a smoother over the whole of the audio by clicking on Effects, Noise Reduction and Restoration, and Adaptive. So that should be done now. If I hit Control, yeah, okay. Control D to unselect that. Pop this back to the beginning. Oh, just don't. That's okay. We'll reopen it. We'll hit continue. Thank you very much, Lee. Thank you. Excellent. Control D to deselect all of that. And if I hit play, that's not the one I want, is it? The one I want is Tanabata Trial. No, yeah, Tanabata Story. That's the one. Click on that and drag and drop. And it may or may not have saved my audio for me. Just going to squish this down to make it a bit closer. And let's try that point across there. Anyway. Oh. So what we've actually done is quite a few different things. If I click on and drag across, this is the one we might work on. We've been able to, through the effects, through noise reduction, through adaptive noise reduction, remove all the white noise in the background. If there's still bits we don't like, we can head towards that bit. We choose the brush. Let me just say, thank you. We can use a brush. We can highlight the section we want to remove, and then we choose favorites and auto heal, and that's going to take it all. Once we're done playing with our audio, just Control D for deselecting that, hit File, and I've got two options. Basically the Save As is where you want to go with this, and it's the easiest, and you can name it as always. So demo file, that'll do me. You can choose whatever you like to save it in. I think by rule of thumb, WAV PCC, so a WAV format, or the MP3 is going to fit everything for you. Then in terms of the sample size, it's 44:1 that you want as the sample rate, and then the bits is 32-bit. So as long as you've got 44:100 and 32-bit as an MP3, it's going to work on everything for you. Just check my folders right. Yep, that's good. So hit OK, and that's going to save in that folder for me. So that's how you can use Audition. There's some links on the file to help you through. They're really quite handy. So just know you can remove noise in the background, you can target areas to remove noise from, and you can move audio around. So in the end, when we bring this all together in our movie next week, you can still put your quiet, your fading and your louder and stuff when you make the movie. We're not doing that in this. We're just healing and making the audio better. So now we're going to head back into the Connect room, and I'll see you in a second.
I blame myself. I gave too long, didn't I? It's no mystery. The sun makes its course by the eve across the sky. Baby, be just as sure get up and wipe my eyes. I'll get up and wipe my I'll get up and wipe my eyes. I can see far from here. I can see far from here. I can see far from here.
Yes, I think they used a little bit of After Effects with that. You can see that if you go to the link there, that will take you through to that video and some other and another video that they've made as well. So I hope that that's given you a bit of an insight into some of the things, into the bits and pieces of Digital Story, so that when we come back together next time, that it can pull it all in together. So thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you have a great week, and you'll be all sent out an email. If you didn't register and are therefore missing out on the email, you will be able to get to the recording at this link. So just remember that one, and that will get you to everything. So thank you very much. I'll make sure you get that audio session